So it's a Monday morning, the 10th of August 2020. My name is Kwame Owusu Danso. This undoubtedly is Good Morning Africa, your number one most authoritative show here in Ghana and in Africa. And anytime I sit here, I get to sit here, I get so exhilarated, you know. I get so excited because I get to spend my mornings with you and you get to spend yours with me. And the most exciting aspect is that, you know, we get to bounce ideas off each other. We have very wonderful tete-a-tete relative to issues that are confronting you and I. And it's imperative that we always continue to engage ourselves in matters of national discourse so that together we can build our dear nation Ghana. So welcome aboard. A special salutation going out to all the ardent viewers of Pan-African television. And you know, yesterday I was told of some very big woman in Wa who watches my morning show. Oh, Mrs. Seidu. Thank you very much for watching the morning show, and thank you very much for always contributing significantly and materially to the sustainability, or to the sustenance, if you will, of the morning show. Thank you very much. Let me, on the basis of this, also extend a heartfelt good morning to Alhaji Baba Seidu Isifu, who is undoubtedly the incoming MP for Naledigu Gambaga constituency. You are in your constituency at the moment, and would like to extend a very warm wishes to you this morning, and we do hope and pray that everything is going on smoothly as planned. All right, make sure you do the needful, make sure you continue to serve your people, and you definitely are going to win the 2020 polls, the parliamentary polls in your constituency. And also to all the aspirants across the nation, those that I know, those that I don't know, I'd like to wish you well. Make sure that you engage in decorous politics, because that's all we need to ensure that you know, the nation is moved from where it is now to a different level. We cannot continue to engage in unnecessary attacks in politics of convenience, which translates to mean that we always will be using the young people to engage in politics that will not augur well for the development of this nation. I mean, people have been in politics of insult, politics of vandalism, politics of what's the other word? How do they call this? Acrimony and all the other monies associated with politics. Let's ensure that there's a level of decorum in our body politic. It's very crucial. It's very crucial. Right. Having said that, I also think that, you know, we're getting into 2020, so we should begin. I mean, we're getting into the 7th December post. We should begin to preach messages of peace, messages of peace. And it's quite unfortunate issues that have unfolded and are still unfolding with respect to the voter registration exercise. You know, the wanton disregard for the laws of this nation, the flagrant attempt to create a certain atmosphere of conflagration, you know, is also rather very disturbing. And we need to make sure that we begin to, you know, engage ourselves in conversations that will water down the ripple effects of our deliberate attempt to subvert the will of the people. We need to water that down. We need to make sure that we have created an atmosphere of inclusiveness, you know, where everybody will feel that they are a part of this particular process. You know, like I always say, democracy is about participation, it's about competition, it's about inclusiveness, and it's about rule of law and the practice of it. It's about ensuring that there's proper constitutionalism. How do we ensure all of this? We have to ensure that institutions are strong enough to handle issues of a breach of law and deliberate, in fact, wanton breach of law without any form of defense whatsoever. We need to make sure that people account, you know, for their stewardship. We need to make sure that people face the full rigors of the law in the event that they act in a way which, you know, is at variance, complete variance with the tenets of the law. So I believe that you know, we have what it takes to continue to protect the independence and the democracy that we've been enjoying over the period, and it does not lie in the mouth or in the hands or in the power of one political party or the other to change that trajectory of democracy that we've chalked over the period. So, I mean, it's a shared responsibility, it's a collective responsibility. The youth must actively play a role, the leaders must actively play a role, and we must ensure that posterity benefits from our stewardship, you know, and our proper governance and accountability. This one, I've been joined in the studios by my very, 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 very distinguished panelists this morning. James Brown is seated here. James Brown, like I've always been opining, is the future of the MPP, and I'm sure that the words that that emanates from my lips will find expression very soon when he becomes the communication director of the MPP. Good morning to you, James. How are you doing?
Good morning, my brother.
And I hope all is well.
All is well.
Very, very soon. Very, very, very soon. Eh? Very, very. Watch my lips very well. Not the Jesus Christ type of soon. No. This one is very, very soon. Well, so the angel of Ghana's politics, as best described by his constituents, is also here seated. And indeed, he stood up all night watching one of his constituents perform very well at, what's the program again? Ghana's most beautiful. You know, you find MPs doing all sorts of things. I mean, this man is so caring. He didn't even sleep. He needed to watch his cousins. Hey, just to vote. Yeah. Good morning to you, Dr. Wan. How are you?
Yeah, good morning.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Let me also extend a voice of welcome to our very own, the indefatigable, the passionately aggressive, eloquently inspiring young man who has been contributing significantly to the morning show. His name is Mr. Soprano Sapon Sylvester, son of Mr. Sapon Sylvester. Good morning to you.
Thank you. Good morning.
And I'm sure the old man is doing well.
Yes, he's great.
Old man is aging, but his bones are still strong.
Oh yeah, he's a forever man.
Yeah. We need to get into his genes and find out what is making him stronger at this age. Maybe we can scientifically get something from there, so that some of us we can inject it and grow.
I've always suspected it's a case of the Benjamin Button. There's a movie.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt, and he was aging backwards. I think my father is afflicted with something like that. He's getting younger.
The old man is simply refusing to grow. Anyway, and happy belated birthday to wonderful persons here at Pan African Television. Comrade Kwesi Pratt Jr., yesterday was your birthday. Happy belated birthday to you, sir. And also, Comrade Justice Apia Jeche, host of Hot News and also a news anchor and news editor here at Pan African Television. Happy belated birthday. Today is the birthday of our very own Godfred, aka Oso. James Brown said today he will buy you lunch. So no shaking. The road is clear. The road is clear. All right, gentlemen, welcome again.
Thank you.
Topics: aggressive action needed as Africa coronavirus cases pass 1 million. Daily Graphic newspaper. Energy Minister blows 64 million Ghana cedi on street lights in 2018 and 2019, says the Inside newspaper. But where are these street lights located? It's a question that all of us would wish to find answers to. Bahama announces $10 billion big push infrastructural plan. Daily Post reported that story. Allow 13 riotous students to write exams. President rise to GES. And even though this particular topic is not part of the topics that we've selected, I think it's imperative that we touch on it regardless. It has to do with the voters registration exercise and all of the issues that are flowed, I beg your pardon, flowed from same. So we're going to be touching on that, all the distributaries and confluences and the estuaries of the voter registration exercise. We're going to be touching on that, but very, very briefly, because, you know, the mop-up exercise was done, I think, on Saturday, on Sunday, I believe. What are the issues? And one of my reporters, Tijani, Badamasi, tells me that he was actually in Asante Mampo, in the Ashanti region, and he tells me of an incident where the youth groups of the NDC and the NPP clashed over the registration process. The fact that one of the political parties wanted to register underage persons, and obviously the others would disagree, and that led to a certain confrontation. Some people were injured, etc. So we'll try and get into all of those issues here and more. And before I move on, a special good morning to you, Miss Amma Pratt. Good morning to you. We are doing the watching. We trust that you had a very wonderful weekend. I'm sure you did, and we wish you all the best for this week. Right. Let's start off with the voter registration exercise. And Soprano, I think it will be proper to start with you because you are in the CPP and you're seeing as a neutral voice, in respect of these matters, particularly because your party hasn't really demonstrated to the people that you have a particular stance, on this whole subject matter of voter registration exercise. There hasn't been any formal, statement issued relative to the voter registration exercise. So let me just give you some 2-3 minutes to give us an overview from your perspective of how the process has been like for you, the fallout from this particular exercise, the utterances from the Electoral Commission itself, and the fact that they claim that if they had not embarked on this particular exercise, the register, the previous one would have been bloated with over 3 million registrants and things like that. Let's look at all of those issues here before we get into the substantive matters. Briefly.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, Kwame, and good morning to my fellow Ghanaians and watchers around the world across the continent of Africa. And also to my colleagues here. Kwame, this is a very interesting topic. And as you said, as a matter of fact, our acting General Secretary, Mr. Bonfe, a.k.a. Kabila, did come out, with a position that was in support of the voters register. I don't want to... Our party has been having challenges, but I still think that Mr. Bonfe, was acting in his capacity as acting general. So we generally supported the voters register, the compilation. And personally, I also really supported that stance of the glorious CPP, because the Convention People's Party, we believe strongly that the electorate in this country, they've had it with the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress because they are really essentially the same people. Nothing necessarily changes regardless of which of the clueless duopoly is in power. But we in the CPP were supporting the voters register because we are confident the people of Ghana want to go off in a new direction and jettison the NPP, NDC duopoly. And so we are confident that when we finally nominate our flag bearer this month, that our party is poised to win the election. And we supported the new voters register because we feel and believe that we will win this 2020 presidential election. And we were very afraid of a situation whereby we'll win using the old voters register, that the one that elected President Akufo-Addo and the one that also elected President Mahama in 2012. We in the CPP were afraid that if we used that register to win the presidential election, President Akufo-Addo will start crying. And yes, as he did in 2012, that he would go to the Supreme Court and say we have robbed him. You understand? And we didn't want a situation whereby, after all the hard work that the Convention People's Party is putting in to win this election, then the President of the Republic will go crying to the Supreme Court that we have robbed him. You see, as he did against President Mahama in 2012. So, because we didn't want President Akufo-Addo crying to the Supreme Court saying that we have robbed him, we thought we would support the compilation of a new voters register popularly referred to as the Akufo-Addo Voters Register, because we believe we can beat President Akufo-Addo with the Akufo-Addo Register. That is what we are geared up to do. And that was one of the main reasons we supported the register. So we are happy that the process has come full circle. I read President John Mahama's Facebook posting over the past few days, in which I think an interview, forgive me, he had with a newsman, and he was saying that generally the targets set, for the EC, that the EC set for itself, have generally been met. It looks like we have registered Ghanaians. The Electoral Commissioner has registered about 16.6 million Ghanaians. And President Mahama, President Mahama, as a former president, with a bird's eye view of what occurs in our country, has come out to say that he thinks that by and large, the numbers that have been gotten or that have been registered, are generally what his party, the National Democratic Congress, expected. Of course, he would have preferred that the national census, where we count the population, would have occurred prior to the register. But be it as it may, when they do their analysis, they see that the numbers that have been registered seem to be what it is, seem to be okay. And then, in addition, one good thing about this register is that for sure it is not bloated in any way with deceased persons. Okay, so we have that.
Are you sure?
I would want to believe so, because Kwame,
people have died though.
Sure, even since we registered, yes. But in addition, there are processes to authenticate and confirm what has occurred on the ground, i.e., some type of audit. And we are expecting ourselves, we in the Convention People's Party, to participate, fully in this audit. We hope that the National Democratic Congress would also, be on its toes with regards to the audit. As you know, I've been appealing to Honorable Esiedun Ketia and reminding him that he has been blessed with being in position and in control of a political apparatus. I'm talking about the National Democratic Congress. That is honestly on the ground. In a way, even the glorious CPP is not. And so we've been, pushing Honorable Esiedun Ketia to do one for Ghana, okay, to make a sacrifice for Ghana and make sure that because the NDC is so much on the ground, that they challenge the NPP boot for boot, as they say, so that we can make sure that the zealots in the NPP do not get ahead of themselves and seek to engineer the register to the NPP's advantage. So, we appreciate that. Now, with regards to the chairman of the Electoral Commission, Mrs. Mensah, I think that the end results of the registration exercise, the voter registration exercise, actually confirms her bona fides. She's done a good job, frankly. Of course, one cannot take away the fact that it is actually the Electoral Commission, the entity that is so well resourced. Take note that over the past 30 years or so of this Fourth Republic, that the Electoral Commission as a body has lived up to expectations and really set themselves apart. Indeed, across the continent of Africa, they are a first amongst equals, and dating back from the days of Honorable Afarijan. Okay, so and then following through as it was done by Honorable Charlotte Osei, who did a good job herself. So Mrs. Jean Mensah is following positively in the footsteps of her predecessors. But we still feel that she is tainted, and we hope that after this exercise, maybe she could just resign and go home. We actually even think that the Electoral Commission should be reformed. We think that some of the leadership of the Electoral Commission seem to be colored by politics, partisan politics, especially the gentleman called Dr. Bosman, if I'm not mistaken. He's all over the place, sounding like a politician, in my opinion. And I think that after the election, whoever wins, even if in the unlikely event that Nana Akufo-Addo should win the election, that, we should change. Because we in the CPP, we are expecting that in January, when we move into the Flagstaff House, that we'll begin to make changes to better strengthen the Electoral Commission. I also want to congratulate the officials of the Electoral Commission across the country, these are patriots, the members and the employees of the Electoral Commission who were, all over the country and were on top of their game, and they were decent and they were professional, and they made sure that the COVID-19 precautions were in place. They insisted on people wearing masks. They insisted on people using sanitizers. They insisted on social distancing. I must say that the officials and the officers and the employees of the Electoral Commission have done a fantastic job, and I congratulate them. And Kwame, when we finish the show, please remind me to send them 20 cedis by mobile money so that they can use it to, if I was a member of the MPP with all that kind of money, maybe I'll send them something big. But CPP, you know our story. We are patriots. We will send them 20 cedis to support some ice water money for them. So Kwame, this is generally my take on the subject. I think the Electoral Commission has lived up to expectations.
Right.
I'm pleasantly surprised by the performance of Mrs. Jean Mensah, the head of the commissioner herself. And I think Mr. Bossman, Dr. Bossman, should sound less political. And generally, I hope that after the election, that maybe Mrs. Jean Mensah will just step aside, and we need to reform the EC so that it can perform even better. Because after this exercise, or through the process of getting to where we've gotten to with regards to this exercise, there's no doubt that Mrs. Jean Mensah, maybe she should step aside after the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well, you're still watching the Newspaper Review segment on Pan-African Television's morning show, Good Morning Africa. This is the Newspaper Review segment where we delve deeper into the issues. This is an aside. It's not part of the main meal. We just wanted to give you some starters for your benefit this morning, particularly because the voter registration exercise has come to an end, and there are some issues really flowing from that particular exercise, and we just wanted to share with you what our thoughts are on that particular issue. Let me now come to you, James Brown, on this subject matter, sir.
All right. Thank you. And let me again say good morning to everybody who's tuning, watching us from their homes, and even on Facebook. I think the issue about the new voters register is an issue that has traveled a very long journey. It started with a lot of, agitations, people who resisted and wanted, he wanted the death of the new voters register, the dream never to materialize. We saw a lot of court actions and all that against the coming into being of the new voters register, its compilation. Eventually, the process kick-started, and every Ghanaian had the opportunity to register and be part of the electoral roll. I think it is, another feather in our cap as far as our democratic credentials is concerned. If you look at democracy and how it's been practiced, one of the key elements is having a very, good electoral process, which would further deepen the democratic credentials of any democratic dispensation, whether in an African setting or even in the Western world. But there have been some few challenges across which we cannot run away from. We must be bold to admit that indeed the EC is also a human institution, and the process involved persons which, hitherto or every now and then you cannot really determine people's, actions. And so, like my brother Soprano rightly said, the process generally has been smooth and very, transparent. I've loved how swift the Electoral Commission has been. Anytime there's an issue, there are releases here and there. Rather unfortunately, now you can't even distinguish which release is a fake one or is, an original. Sometimes you even see a fake release before you see the original release itself. It's funny how our society has become. But generally, it's been good. But I think there were some few issues that personally I took interest in. For example, some of the, tribal and ethnic, ethnocentric comments that, I found in the space of the compilation of the register is, first of all, the EC did not register ethnic groups. We must have that in our minds, that the EC was focused on registering Ghanaians. And so there is no, percentage, breakdown of ethnic, groups that got registered. I'm not sure the EC would even worry itself with such a data. And so yesterday I heard the voter regional chairman of the NDC making a point that the voter region, or in largely the areas, population that were registered is less than what he expected. And I'm asking that, how did he arrive at such quantitative, analysis to say that the people from the voter region or the areas that were supposed to be captured on the electoral roll, they did not meet the target? I'm worried. And how did he arrive at such, figures? But like I'm saying, the Electoral Commission is not bothered about registering ethnic groups. They are registering Ghanaians. So far as you're a Ghanaian and you can be identified as one, there's an opportunity for you to be part of the process. But I love a very famous quote of Barack Obama, who said that in every democracy, the highest office is the office of the citizen. And so it gives me an impression that Ghanaians have demonstrated, this, quality or character of somebody who hails or is an indigene of a certain jurisdiction. If you look at the numbers like the EC postulated, it's been, they've exceeded even their targets. And I'm not even really interested in the number. I'm interested in the identity of the people who have been captured. Even if it's just one person who was captured on the electoral roll, I believe if that person is Ghanaian, it is enough for us to have that confidence that indeed, when it comes to decision making in this country, it is left and solely in the hands of people who are Ghanaians and not any other persons who are not Ghanaians who come and decide for us. There were issues indeed about queue management. There were, some, abuse of the COVID-19 protocols, both on the part of the EC officials sometimes, and even participants who want to get registered. I have also dismissed people who have tried to talk about President Mahamad's, going to register. I've heard people talk about it, make noise so much about it. It's needless. Even those who want to talk about his appearance in a blue shirt and all that, I find it quite petty. But people also feel that, despite a lot of education that the EC made about what the background of the picture would be, which is blue, it means when you appear at the center to be taken through the process, you have to appear in a certain outfit, a color that will not, be too. Will have conflict with the background. But unfortunately, the former president was seen in such, an outfit until he put on a smock. But that's okay. I'm not interested in even that. But very importantly, Ghanaians have been captured, and across the country, whether you are an Ewe, you are an Akan, you are a Ga, you are whatever tribe, you have an opportunity to register. It is important that we don't overemphasize on the ethnic issues regarding this voters register, because if you're not careful and you invest so much energies in that area, what it may result in may be something that you would not wish for, unless somebody wants to make political capital out of that. And over the years we've had people try to pitch the voter pride against some political parties and all that. But like I heard yesterday also, nobody has the voter region as its property. No political party, not even the Ashanti region. We shouldn't make ethnic groups the property of political parties. It will not help our democracy. We should allow the conversation to be very neutral, very balanced, give people, Ghanaians, the opportunity to feel belonged. Whether they are Akans, whether they are Evers, whether they are Gans or Mampusis or whatever that they are. We live in a Ghanaian jurisdiction and we must have equal recognition as Ghanaians. But I find the investment and the overly emphasizing on the voter and the Ewe ethnic group as a political ploy. People who want to, turn the voter pride against some people. I am aware of some excesses that have taken place, and it's not just in the voter region. If you are fair to the dialogue, you would also mention some of the cases that have happened elsewhere. In my constituency, for example, a lot of things happen, but you've not heard the media talk about it so much. And so when I see the media or people trying to only talk about the voter experience, then it makes me, gives me the impression that perhaps somebody wants to create an impression, or try the pitch the tribal card to see whether it will play in their favor. We've seen some of these things, come to pass before. If you would remember the death of the former or the then Yana and all that, we've seen how the tribal cards were played around that area to make it look like a certain political party masterminded the killing of the then Yana. I heard political parties campaign on that line. But today, we have peace in the northern region, and so it is no more attractive to them. And so then we have to shift focus and make the voter people feel that their pride and their ethnicity is being challenged. I don't think it's fair.
Right.
We have to build a unified Ghana so that everybody will feel inclusive.
Thank you very kindly, James. Well, you're still watching the news preview segment here on Pan-African Television. The WhatsApp number is active. It's 0260846539, 0260246539. Let me welcome all of you who just tuned in to the show and say a special good morning to you. Make sure you share with us what your thoughts are on the issues that we've raised for our conversation this morning. We're streaming live on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Pan-African Television. And if you are my friend on Facebook, please don't hesitate at all to send me your messages as well. Kwame Owusu Danso is my Facebook page, and on Twitter, I am Kwame Owusu Danso, because I actually lost my old Twitter handle, so now I have a few following. But you can follow me. You can follow me on Twitter at Kwame Owusu Danso, and I'm on Instagram as well at Kwame Owusu Danso. Dr. Nawani, let's come to you.
Thank you very much, Kwame. And let me use the opportunity to greet my people in our local language. Mbana manama yempoya ka yele registration that thing soma ka mante tenarde se that thing soma ka mami ye I December 7th la yena yina ta vote katibang. Then you see na camp has also. Yeah, I've greeted them and thanked them for the registration that was done in the Nabdam constituency, which went well. Well, in my constituency, it went well. Yeah. Having said that, Kwame, there's no need crying over spilled milk. What has happened is that everything has played out in such a way that whatever that we predicted before the registration has come to pass, but not for free. It has come to pass at a cost. We are currently talking about over 200 million Ghana cedis probably going waste or not used for the purpose for which we could have used it to improve upon the infrastructure that we are talking about, our COVID fight, our bad roads, our hospitals, our clinics, the schools that we could not build, etc. This is the amount of money that has gone down the drain for no reason than to reproduce something that resembles what we already had. We're having a voter register. We said it was credible. We said that the figure should be around 16.6. We said that if anything at all, we could register, we could clean it, we could do that, and save our money. And here was another group of people who said that no, the voter register is bloated. The voter register is not credible. This voter register cannot be used to declare a president. And after going all around, but you want to give credit to the person who has gone all around, rotated along his or her own axis to come back to the same answer. No, Ghanaians, we must be fair to ourselves. We're behaving as if we are so. The country is very, very rich, and then we can spend our money anyhow and still develop. That is not true. We've got to make choices. And whenever somebody makes a bad choice, in the long run, we should be able to tell the person in the face that, hey, Jack, the choice that you made, you've been proved wrong, or you are incorrect. That is the issue. And so we should be able to tell the electoral commissioner and his staff, who claimed that the register was bloated and that if they did not do something about it, this register cannot be used. We should be able to tell them in the face that no. The work we have done, yes, we've come to the end of it. But what came out is proving hot parties such as NDC, the civil society, and some other Ghanaians were saying that yes, we could have used the old register and saved ourselves an amount of what? 200 million Ghana cedis for development. In terms of the whole registration exercise itself, yes, from the center, when I say the center, Accra or the capital, the players here paint a certain picture that everything went well. The problems that arise were just sporadic. No, that is not true. Even if one Ghanaian was refused to register, that is too bad. In a country where we have ever won an election with, is it 24 or 44, 24,000 people, that's a thing. When we won an election with about 24,000 or so people, 60,000 people challenged. It's a very big number. And if you go to look at these 60,000 that have been challenged, there are other people with naughty names or people with other names. Just take the names and look at it. You don't need to study any other parameter. Sometimes it could be a Muslim name too, but it resembles a naughty name, yeah. But these are the things. You will never see any other name challenged. I have lived in around Upper Dentra East and Upper Dentra West, where most of these challenges will also come from. It was very simple. Any man who came, irrespective of whether you have lived there giving birth to your children for how long, some of them don't even go back to their hometowns. There are people who are residents at Dunka and its surroundings. They will challenge you. So let us not take this figure that, oh, it's quite a small number. This 60,000 can determine who becomes the next president of what? Ghana. And I'm calling on the authorities and I'm calling on the NDC party. Look, those who have been challenged, we should not take it for a joke. For every one of them, let us fight till the end to ensure that the person gets his card. Now, when we are talking about these people who have been challenged, etc., they are open arguments. Oh, well, if they are not Ghanaians, why shouldn't they be challenged? Do we have non-Ghanaians being non-Ghanaians with Ghana names living in the center of Ghana? They are not going to bother. I'm not talking of the western or eastern border. These are people. This Banda case, they are living just around that dump. They were resettled along the dump of what dam was constructed during Akufo's time. This Bui dam. It was just just there. Some on top of the upper water, the black water, okay. Others to the side, etc.
Thank you.
You know, these are not people who you can describe. They are not even near the border.
All right.
To be described as this thing.
All right.
They speak the Ewe language.
All right.
They've been living with the people. They have intermarried. They don't have police stations at their place. Their only problem is how to get police stations to register. And when they go into the main population, now we have the other tribes saying that they are not Ghanaians, they are not Akan. How can, is that where non-Ghanaians are located?
All right.
So let us not take it for a joke.
Thank you, Dr. Nawani.
This number is big.
All right.
And NDC should continue to fight.
All right.
And I'm proud of my General Secretary.
Right.
who hails from that area, and I'll say he went to the battlefront to ensure that the right thing is done. And I hope that every one of us will monitor our area, just like President Muhammad said that we should brighten our corner. We should work at, each of us should work at our police stations, should work at our constituencies. If we all do that, I'm very sure that
All right.
we'll get where we want to get.
Thank you very much, Dr.
Yes.
Nawani.
Give back the cars
Hey.
to the people.
All right.
Give back their cars.
Thank you.
They are Ghanaians.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nawani there. And it's, I think it's a positive call, particularly because now you don't know who a citizen is unless the person has a voter's ID card. And so, well, I mean, and so, I'm not even talking about NIA. I don't even want to go into the questions. I don't even want to go into the questions of answers about NIA. All I'm saying is that once a person possesses the voter's ID card, that person is a Ghanaian. And that was the decision by the court. Simpliciter. So let's not even begin to belabor the argument about having NIA or not. While the person possesses a credible voter's ID card, that person is a Ghanaian because that person's citizenship was vouched for by 2 Ghanaians who are registered, Ghanaians. And so for me, I don't have a problem at all with that. If people have been registered and they've gone through the process, they did not circumvent anything, they did not, twist the arm of the law. They went through the process and they were registered. I think we should respect that. And that they're new Ghanaians. Absolutely, absolutely,
Ghanaians,
absolutely. So we must respect that. We must respect that.
The Ivorians that were.
I don't care. You see, that's the problem with the court decision.
They possess the card.
That's the problem with the court decision.
They have admitted and confessed that they are not
But
Ghanaians.
who has the authority? Hold on. Who has the authority to question them whether they are Ghanaians or not? Once they possess, you see, and that is the problem I have with the court decision. Once the person has a voter's ID card, you cannot question the person's citizenship again.
Even when the person willingly
absolutely
says I'm not a Ghanaian.
Why would you?
I went through the process
because you intimidated them. If you that's the explanation. James. What I'm saying.
It was a UTV report.
James, what I'm I care about UTV.
No, it was a report. Not any political party.
What I'm saying is that what qualifies under these circumstances? What qualifies somebody to be a Ghanaian under these circumstances? Per the court's ruling, the court's own ruling. The court in its wisdom said that all other forms of identification were literally meaningless.
Null and void.
You understand? So it was all those other, for instance, your birth certificate was not a document that could define you as a Ghanaian. Are you following me? No other document. So the only document that now identifies or defines who a Ghanaian is the voter's ID card and the NIA. So if the persons possess these ones, why then do you say that these persons are?
No, but there's a caveat. The person says, "I am not."
But
yes.
So if the person,
haven't you seen a reversal of perhaps a judgment before?
A reversal of a judgment.
Yes, maybe a judgment.
And then it takes no decision takes a retrospective effect.
By the security or
no decision.
You are illegal.
At the court of law, it wouldn't have a retrospective effect.
At the court of law,
per the report I watched, I think that out of their own volition, they admitted that yes, we've got
those people.
Who gave them?
People vouch for them. I think that is why the law has taken hold of those people. People vouch for them.
But the point is that.
That is the weakness. And that is the weakness.
No, but that is
because there's a voucher system.
But that's the sickness that law, the Supreme Court failed to cure.
The law is an ass.
Are you following me?
Yes.
Because you see, justice is rooted in confidence. And every time I say this, Lord Denning was very apt and succinct when he said that. He said, justice is rooted in confidence. And the confidence of the people is lost when people leave the courtroom thinking the judges were biased. That is Lord Denning for you. You understand what I'm trying to say? And he says,